Hi, I'm Mr. Miyagi, and this is Mr. Miyagi's Workshop. Well, today we thought we'd do something a little different. We thought we'd do a Q&A on the XS650s. Um, I got one question. We'll start right off here. I got one question from a gentleman who asked me about the clutch pushrod tube seizing inside the engine and braking. Um, I've never seen the full size ones break. You have a ball bearing at this side that hits the actuator that actually pushes the clutch plates apart, and then you have a ball bearing that's inside the actuator for the cable. On this side, after really looking into it, doing a little research, I haven't found it. What I think has happened is that the gentleman, not knowing much about the engine, may have assumed that this had sheared off in here. Well, there's a ball bearing that fits in between the two units. And then there's another ball bearing that fits in between the clutch plate activator and the rod. And then again, you have another ball bearing that sits in the cable part of the actuator that actually moves the rod. I think if he pulled this out, it probably looked like it had sheared, but I don't think it's happened. I tried to have him send me a picture of it. If you still want to send me a picture of it, I would love to look at it to see to get a better idea what you're talking about. But I hope that answers the question. There are the two styles of rods. There are the two-piece stock rod, and then the custom aftermarket solid rod. I tend to use these guys a lot. Okay, moving on here. I got my notes a little scattered here. Okay. This gentleman, Johnny, wanted to know about building a Rephase motor, basically. I have used basically one company to do my rephasing because I have know him personally. I've met him. He's back in North Carolina. Hughes Handbuilt. He does a wonderful job. He's got a good bunch of guys that work for him. I've never had a problem with any of the stuff that I have that came from Hughes Handbuilt. These other companies, I'm not sure where they do their rephasing of the crank and the cam. I'd almost suspect that they're sending them to Hughes in the first place to have it done. There's not a lot of people out there that have that capability and know how to do it. The worst thing can happen, on a rephase, what they do is they cut the cam and rotate it to the 277 degree, and the crankcase comes out. The crank comes out and splines back on. One thing, it would be horrible to have a cam break in half. Hughes, when he does take these things apart, he examines the rods and everything, and you may pay a little extra, but I would guarantee you that when he put those new rods and everything, it's going to last quite a while. And he'll verify that with you when you do it. But like I said, I don't know too much about these other companies. I do know about Hughes Handbuilt, and I like his work, and he's a good guy. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Richie from the UK is asking me basically what my background is in this whole business of building bikes. I started when I was 12 years old. I built a a bike out of 2x4s, old wheelbarrow parts, a pulley. It was a belt drive system. It was a direct drive system. It was a Briggs and Stratton, and with a cable throttle that I had to actuate with my hand. It worked okay until I crashed it, and then come whimpering home to my father at the time. And my dad looked at me and goes, "Boy, you need to learn how to weld." Well, from there on, it all went downhill. I also learned techniques from that old gentleman about if you didn't have the money, you didn't know where where to buy the tool, you didn't know anything about make a tool to fit that, is like we would design and build our own tools. And you can see that's what I end up doing here with my mounts and little side tools and stuff. You know, we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, so that's what you did. You took some old wrenches, you made something up, a socket or whatever, welded it together, and you were good to go. So that, and I have a background in architectural engineering. I've worked on tugboats. Oh, worked on the railroad for a while. Worked building log cabins. I've got a kind of a diverse, I guess, background of all sorts of things that I've done over the years. Lived up in the woods for over a year and a half, kind of off the grid. I was a load master in the United States Air Force. I spent 2 tours in Vietnam, and it was an experience. I'm glad to be home, and I'm proud of our troops these days. Thank you, boys. Thanks for doing what you're doing. Okay, that's about it on my background. It's kind of, I've worked on motorcycles. I worked at my uncle. Oh, here's another thing. When I was 13 to, I suppose 15 and a half, whether I helped my uncle at his motorcycle shop. And ever since then, I've, been into motorcycles. So my favorite thing is a manual, to research and read the manual and understand what the hell they're talking about. So anyway, moving on. Okay, here's a little question coming from Sweden about fork size. Yeah, these things here, oh, wrong one. Now these are 35 millimeter forks. This was off of an 80. Now your other ones are going to be smaller in diameter. And these are roughly 29 inches to length. And that is from the center of the axle to the top of the tube itself. I've had some guys asking me, what kind of a kit can I do to put in there to lower these things? Well, what I've done in the past, let me get this. What I've done in the past, these things will tighten up. You can tighten these at pretty much any stage on it. You can lower these and tighten them up and ride them that way. But you got to remember, they also make in drop kits that you can put in for the springs and such. Just remember, if you do lower the tubes, I've seen guys put clip style handlebars on these, that this has a travel and it will hit the bottom of the triple tree if you go too low. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, you know that I used a Harley front end, a Sportster front end on my bike, on that dual sport. And that length on those from center to the top, center of the axle to the top, was 31 inches. Now I did raise the bike a bit on the front, but then again I used taller shocks on the rear. I wanted ground clearance. So No, I have not tried the damn bike out yet. The weather has not been conducive for me to go out and play. Wish it would. It's been raining. Well, it is Pacific Northwest. I hope that answers the question, and I think we'll move right on here. I have a question here of how many, this comes from Rishi, how many from the UK, how many bikes I've built. As XS650s I've built. I've probably built, on doing the motor, gone through the motors and stuff, I've probably gone through about 20 of them. Actual bikes that I've built, probably right around 17. Overall, I've built probably around 200 bikes, and that is Triumphs, Harleys, Hondas, Yamahas, and that's various sizes of Yamahas, from the Roadstar down to the V-Star 1100. I've done Kawasaki builds from the ground up, where we've built custom frames and such for that. So the XS's is something it's kind of a fun thing for me to do. I like these a lot. One of the other bikes I like a lot is Trail 90 Honda. I have several people that bring those in to have me work on them. Those are a fun bike. I don't own any. I kind of wish I would have bought one, but I don't. I have a couple of mini bikes that we used in our Gambler mini bike enduro racing. It's 100 miles on a mini bike, and I did 2 of those. And let me tell you, I don't want to do another one. So anyway, if you do have some comments and stuff, if you want to send it to my email address, teammiyagi@hotmail.com, I'll have it paged through here. I'll do my best to answer the questions. But if you've liked this episode on the Q&A and you want to see another one, please like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, the shoulder's still screwed up. And don't forget to hit that ringy-dingy button. And let me know in the comments below if you want another Q&A. And if you do, send me the questions. I'll try to answer them as best as possible. So this is Mr. Miyagi signing off. Y'all be safe out there. Keep the shiny side up and the rubber on the downside. Ciao.